where that's at, Harlan. If you don't know where that's at, I say Carroll. If you don't know where Carroll's at, I say Council Bluffs. If you don't know where Council Bluffs is, I say Omaha. But because the district's so big, I actually do have to tell people that sometimes. The district goes all the way over to Chickasaw County. You guys might not know where Chickasaw County is. It's probably 5 hours from here, I'll bet. And I think one thing that I grew up in Irwin, and it's a small town, 350 people. We had a sale barn at one time, and really what we're known for now is being part of IKM, Irwin, Kirkland, Manila, Manning School District. That's still how a lot of people identify themselves. I started in business when I was 7 years old. Well, my mom and dad did. They had saved enough money to buy a service station. And I remember the first day, because I was out there pumping gas when I was a little kid. And they had actually worked 2 jobs to buy that business. And so I know how hard it is to start a business from scratch. So it's really a pleasure to meet you and I'll hopefully hear more about your business, because I do like it. When you've been doing it as long as I have, for sure. We pumped ethanol. Grew up making donuts. Mom and Dad loaned me the money when I was 11. I should know these dates. I don't know why I know. When I was 11 years old, about 11 years old, to buy a donut machine. So I had a manual crank donut machine. I was up at 6 o'clock every day when I was 11 years old doing that. And I would make donuts, get splattered with ice. And so can you imagine what OSHA would say about that today? Oh, it would not be good. But although I think because if you're a parent and child relationship, you could actually make them work. Do you have kids?
Yeah, this is my son.
Oh, okay. Good deal. Well, you can weld anything, but...
No, you can run the kitchen.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, make it work, and that's actually a great business, because it does teach you to be nice to people. If you ever notice people that are not having a bad day or something like that, they've never worked behind a counter or waited at a table or something like that. We actually transitioned to convenience stores. They closed one bay and remodeled it, made a convenience store, and then eventually they made it closed the second bay of the service station and made it a restaurant, a pizza, just like probably similar to yours now, except yours is a beautiful store. It's got the concrete floors, high ceilings. Just love the stainless vent in the back. See, I checked it out. I saw it. Beer cave, that's like, that's one of those things that I'll probably do forever. I didn't look at the price of gas, so I'm done looking at the price of gas competitively like that. So, but I married my high school sweetheart. We both went to University of Iowa. And after I graduated, I went in the Army. I was a combat engineer officer, if you read my bio. Loved the Army. I got to do some great things. I got to sleep in the mud. And I got to jump out of airplanes and blow things up as a combat engineer. And probably one of the best things, or things I'm most proud of, is serving my country, in our country. But we knew that we had to be back in rural America, rural Iowa, to raise our family. So that's why we got out of the Army. I did. I say we because it is a partnership when you're serving. Your wife's right there. Jill was right there with me. We were in Germany. But we knew that we wanted to come back to Irwin to raise our kids. And so we were lucky enough to come back to family business. Mom and Dad had continued to grow the business. And 1999, I think they had 4 stores. They had tank wagons, so they delivered fuel to farmers. And when we got back, they had about 30 people. So Jill and I helped grow the business. We took like 330 people, something like that. And 10, 12 stores, depends on the time, we do different things, and sold fuel to other customers. And we just had a great life in Irwin. We were able to raise our kids, Ella, Xander, and Connor. And Connor's 16, going to be 17 in March. Ella and Xander are twins. They're going to be 14 in less than a week, I think. 16th, I think. So we got our hands full. My daughter, I tell you what, she keeps me humble. Every single day she tells me I'm wrong. So I know that what I learned from that is that, you know, I might have one point of view, but she has a different one. Doesn't mean we're wrong, but either one of us are wrong. But we do have to fight some issues out. She does fight with her school teachers about things. She's very opinionated, very conservative. They don't even know what conservatism is really, but they are, and they don't know it. You know, a few years ago, Mom and Dad were ready to sell the business, and so we did. There was a buyer; they were ready to retire, and so we did exit. And I've been teaching at Creighton University for 4 or 5 years now, and Jill is an accountant for a firm down there. So we've had a great time. We were right to come back to Iowa because it's kind of, I think, the last place to become crazy. The rest of the country has become really crazy, I think. But now the Democrats are bringing the crazy to Iowa. You know, Joe Biden, I don't know, Denison, just right north of Irwin, he was at Kronk's Cafe, one of the pivotal campaign stops. You saw this, right? Where he told a guy that disagreed with him, was a Democrat. Not all Democrats are bad. So he said, you don't know what you're talking about, you're old, and I don't even know what else he said. And, you know, that's no way to treat a constituent. You are a public servant. You should know better than that. You know, he's been doing it for 40 years. Well, that's the problem. He's a career politician. He does think he knows better than that. The other craziness, a year or so ago now, we had to have a national debate about killing babies after they're born. 700,000 babies killed. Listen to people complain about their neighbors' dogs getting in their trash and their cats doing different things, and make sure the water bill was paid, make sure the sewer bill was paid, and guess what? We balance the budget. Just like you guys do, just like you have to do at the C-store.
Well, at city council too.
Ah, yeah, see? So you know why we can't print more money. Federal government can. That's not right. You know what it's doing? Your kids, your grandkids, your great-great-grandkids are going to be paying for everything that we're buying right now. We've got control. I actually think that's a national security threat. I think $23 trillion in debt is way too much. And probably the most disturbing part is we don't even talk about it anymore. Earlier this fall, we had a budget that got passed. It added $1 trillion to the debt. We talked about for 3 days on the national TV, national debate. 3 days. And guess what? Republicans and Democrats voted for it. Why? Because it's easier to tell a taxpayer, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. We'll solve your problems. They have no business being in our lives that much. So we've got to get people who care more about their country than having a career back to DC. And I'm just an average guy from Irwin that thinks that I'll go for 10 years, 5 terms, and come home. And if I don't, you come kick me in the shins and tell me to go home and be an average guy, because I am just a guy from Irwin that wants to make a difference. And I would really love to have a conversation with you. I can tell you more. I can tell you stories about my kids for 2 or 3 hours if you want. But I want to hear what's important to you guys more than anything, because that's what's powerful, and that's what drives me to go and do this.